What's up, everyone? Hello, hello, hello. How are you all doing out there, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to another great, epic episode of Just My Opinion Reviews. Guys, this is the Oscars edition. This one right here, guys, we are going to be talking about Oppenheimer in full spoiler form. Of course, film directed by Mr. Christopher Nolan, nominated for 13 films. No, I said 13 films, 13 awards, 13 nominations, because I mean the movie was just that good. Again, guys, I'm going to be doing as many of the Best Picture nominated films as I possibly can. And so thank you for tuning in. I want you to subscribe to me. I also want you to subscribe to my guest as well, Mr. Lamont Tyson with Get a Life Gains. My brother, thank you for being here. Let the people out there know how you're doing.
Doing good, y'all. Ready to talk about Oppenheimer with my boy B. Avery and all the awards they're about to get. Robert Downey Jr. running away with supporting actor, and just the historical nature of what this film meant and how they translated this based on the book. And my daughter wants to say hello too. Say
Yeah.
hi. Our subscribers are looking at us. Say hi. Look,
Hey,
look.
El, I love your
Say
hair,
hi.
man.
Say hi. She
Hey.
wanted to make sure I had. Look, I told her I lost my nerd card, right? So she
Uh-huh.
went and got me the Darth Vader sticker.
Nice. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know if she can hear me, man, but tell her I love her hair. It's the cutest thing in the world. El, I love your hair. Keep it up. Okay, that is beautiful. You know, look a little pretty angel. Yes, yes. I love seeing you when you pop on here. Okay.
I'm gonna get some stickers to you.
Oh, I can't wait to get them. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
All right,
All
yeah.
right.
See you later.
Later, alligator. But yeah, man, we got this film Oppenheimer. I want to let you guys know, if you didn't already, I did a non-spoiler review on my film for this movie. If you guys want to check that out, link in the description. And also me and Miss Kimberly Kern, we did like a 2-hour live the weekend this came out as well. And so if you guys want to go check that out, link is in the description. But with all the awards, with all the recognition that this film is receiving, well deserved, I had to bring in Lamont to talk about this one again. You was really, really excited about it when I brought it up. Like, oh, we got to talk about Oppenheimer. I saw it a while back, but I remember everything fresh, like I saw it, day before yesterday. And so I'm really curious to see how you felt about it. I mean, I'm assuming you liked it since you wanted to show up, but I really did enjoy this. I can't talk to that. I really did enjoy this movie. I really did enjoy this film, and I got to be honest with you, Lamont. For me, I mean, there's really no such thing as like a star in Hollywood anymore. Decades ago, if you drop anybody's name, it was automatic that they was going to make buku bucks at the box office. And that's not necessarily the case anymore with just a few people. You can't even really say that with The Rock. However, with Christopher Nolan, in my humble opinion, and you can let me know if you disagree or not, you definitely can. Of course, we all know him from the Dark Knight trilogy. One of my favorite films of his is also The Prestige. Before this movie, he also came out with Tenet. I really did like that film. It was entertaining, but I'm still confused as hell. Inception and Interstellar is up there, man. Every time he dropped the title, I got really, really excited. His least favorite films, in my opinion, under his filmography, is Dunkirk and The Dark Knight Rises. Not saying that those films are trash, but those are just my least favorite. But when it comes to Oppenheimer, when Tenet was released and everybody was just, okay, what is Christopher Nolan's next film going to be? And he said Oppenheimer, the king, the father of the atomic bomb. I was not excited. I was a little disappointed. I was like, yeah, I like my history and all that good stuff, but this just really doesn't pique my interest. I wish he was doing something else. This seems like it's going to be a bit boring or a bit dry. And so I just really wasn't anticipating the movie. And even when the first trailer dropped, I was like, okay, it looks cool, but I'm still not just super duper excited about it. And I think it was the Barbenheimer effect when, Universal and Warner Brothers decided to release those movies at the same time. I think Warner Brothers was bitter because Christopher Nolan left Warner Brothers to go to Universal. Don't really understand that still because the management was different. But with all the hype behind it, I saw the film early and man, I was blown away. I was blown away. I've seen this film multiple times in its 3 hour length. And my goodness gracious, it was one of the best films of 2023, in my opinion. Should it win Best Picture? I think it's good enough. Will it win? I don't know. Or does it deserve to win? I don't know. I mean, it qualifies definitely. There's still some other titles that I have to see first before I come to a conclusion. I don't think it's fair to say something should win or lose unless you see a whole ton of films and everything that is up for the award. And I will be back with that conclusion on Monday, March the 11th at 6:30 p.m. CST. I will be going live the day after the Oscars for a recap. You're welcome to come if you want to. At that point in time, I'll be able to clearly say if it should win, if if it was not a snub, but what should have took the crown jewel as far as the Oscars are concerned is Best Picture. But it has 13 nominations. Again, I loved it. People know my opinion, but they don't know yours, man. Just jumping right in. I say jumping out right in, and I've been talking for 5 minutes, but I'm gonna pass it to you, man. How you feeling about this film, man? Did it reach the hype level that you went in? Was it good? Was it bad? Did it meet your expectations? Did it fall below? Did it exceed your expectations? Let the good people out there know how you felt about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, me being someone who is a nerd, I'm also a history buff. I love history. I love how African Americans have contributed to history and how at times our contributions have been silenced. And how does that relevate to this film? This was a very political film, and oftentimes you hear people say that political films don't do well because of the very nature of the content. This thing almost made $1 billion. It made 960 million dollars on the same day it came out as Barbie. And I was one of those people that went to see the so-called Barbenheimer. I seen them both, but I put Oppenheimer last. The film is based on a book, American Prometheus, which kind of highlights the life of Oppenheimer and him being on the Manhattan Project and his fall from grace. That same book also highlighted Jay Wilkinson, which was a 21-year-old African American who was like this genius mathematician. I would have liked to have seen him in the movie. We didn't see that. But overall, B. Avery, I got what I thought. I didn't expect the script to be anything spectacular, and it wasn't. But what was spectacular, it wasn't spectacular to me. It was the script. If I'm basing it on 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I give the script about a 7.
Okay.
But what was spectacular, and you had to see this, ladies and gentlemen, in the theater, in immersive theater, the sound, the visuals, the score, when they dropped the first bomb test, oh my God. It felt like you was in that bunker with all the scientists that was covered up hearing this thing for the first time. It almost felt like a wind chill hit me and all the other people in the theater. And so those things did meet and exceed what I expected. And I was just happy to see a lot of people turn out for this movie because of the nature of the film.
Yeah. Right on, man. I mean, I'm not mad at you for your 7 out of 10 for the script. I thank you, Warner Brothers. They was nice enough to send me a copy of the film in 4K Blu-ray. And one of the things I really do like about Christopher Nolan is I don't know how he's able to negotiate this with the studios, because apparently no other director is, but he is one of the only few that actually releases the IMAX cut, the IMAX ratio on digital, on Blu-ray, 4K. Doom Part 1, that was shot with 4K, but that's not the IMAX cut is not available. But Warner Brothers did send me a copy, and I was able to witness this whole experience again in IMAX. And you brought up the scene where they was in the bunker at Los Alamos while they was testing the bomb, and that was one of my favorite scenes out of the whole entire movie. Christopher Nolan does a hell of a good job of building tension in all of his films. And like you said, man, I felt like I was right there with all the scientists in that bunker, nervous that an atmosphere ignition would pop off as well and destroy the earth, And it's just interesting that they still proceeded to go through with the plan, with this very, very small chance that it could destroy the world. But, they had to beat the Germans, and them over there. It was also just kind of funny too. Matt Damon, everybody, this cast is stacked as hell, man. Everybody and their mama was in this movie. Everybody did a great job, whether they was on screen for 30 seconds or 30 minutes. They did a hell of a great job. And talking about that same particular scene, it was funny. It's like, wait a minute, what are the chances that that atmospheric ignition could happen? Oh, it's quite low. Well, how low? Near zero? Near zero? Well, give me an exact. And he was like, I would prefer it to be absolute zero. So him being able to insert little bits of comedy and lightheartedness during such a crucial moment in history to where the world could explode, man, you just got to give it to him as far as him being one of the best directors in the game. Do you agree or
Mhm.
disagree with that?
100%. You said it in your opening soliloquy. He is, when you talk about star-studded actors being able to have draw, there's only a handful of directors who are capable of having draw. And Nolan is definitely in a category of about maybe six I can think of that just based on his directorial name is going to have draw. And so, yeah, I agree with you, brother. He nailed this one. Definitely nailed it. He has, and you can tell a Nolan film. It has a certain flair to it. And
Mhm.
this was definitely a Nolan film.
Yeah. Just look at the cast. It would be difficult for me just to say who was my favorite. Actually, that's not true. It would probably be Robert Downey Jr. or Cillian Murphy, the main lead. They knocked it out. Jason Clark, being the asshole that he was in this film, he did a pretty. Everybody did a great job, man. It's no one. Everybody pulled their weight. Kenneth Branagh, even though he was in there for a brief moment, everybody did fantastic. Now I
You
want
had Casey Affleck,
yeah,
Florence Pugh.
yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
could. I personally, I felt like they didn't really have to have Florence Pugh and the sex scenes, even though that is germane to the story. I felt like they didn't have to have her, but they stuck it in there for the effect that they wanted, and we got her doing what she did.
Yeah.
But I felt like they could have cut her out,
Um, cut her out or cut the sex scene out.
cut the sex scene out.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that because I did watch it recently and it was a bit uncomfortable. I don't know why. I don't normally get uncomfortable doing sex scenes unless it's being committed against somebody's will, aka grape or something like that. But
Mhm.
at the same time, that was kind of the point to make us all uncomfortable because he was in that little kangaroo court, that was a farce, and he's having to talk about his infidelity, with his wife
Yeah,
right there, and so, of course, he's uncomfortable. She's on. This is embarrassing, And so, I
yeah,
guess Christopher Nolan wanted us to make us. He wanted to make us feel exactly like the characters did. Awkward,
Mhm.
uncomfortable, embarrassed. And he did a great job at that because it would just even in filming that scene, you just like, man, just can you imagine? That's just. I don't know. That's asking a lot, but I wonder how much the
It-
paychecks were.
Oh yeah, and since you went on ahead and hit on kind of my favorite moments, this was not what you would call a linear film when it got to the end when they was having those kangaroo court hearings. Ladies and gentlemen, there was really no repercussions for these hearings. You had they set it up in two different personas, so to speak.
Three,
Oh, my three. You had Fission, and then you had Fusion, which they made it black and white with Robert Downey Jr.
right?
And he was going through his whole ordeal trying to get in the cabinet. And the fission section that was dealing with Oppenheimer, they was basically trying to discredit this man. They didn't want to give him clearance again. They was trying to basically undermine everything he had done. And one of my favorite scenes and lines of dialogue was when he went in there to meet Truman. Do you remember that part, B.
Oh
Avery?
yeah, call
And
me my baby.
yeah, yeah. And told him to get out the office
Yeah,
because
man.
because at this point in time, and I also liked some of the scenes where he met with Einstein too.
Yeah. Oh,
When he went in there to meet with Truman, his morals, his emotions was getting involved. He felt like he had hurt people. And Truman, when he saw him crying and all that, just basically told him, look, bro, nobody's gonna remember you. I'm the one they're gonna remember for hitting this button. Now get your crybaby ass up on out of here.
right.
And that's when you start seeing different things stacking up against this man's career and reputation that led us into those hearings. So yeah, those are some of my favorite moments.
I got you. It just the mindset, man, but behind each of those men were polar opposites.
Right.
Truman didn't give a damn, and they looking at this. Look, that's this sad little puppy dog over here. And of course, I'm on Oppenheimer's side. He feels responsible, for killing hundreds of thousands of people. Innocent of that. And yeah, so powerful scene is the from the beginning to end, this movie was fire. Now I did talk about one scene where it was my favorite, where they was
Okay.
at the site in Los Alamos. The tension. You had the guy over there looking at the voltage, like, hey, if the voltage goes below one, hit the abort button. Nerve wracking, all of that. That cone of silence, and then the big eruption. The aftermath, one of my favorite. The sound was incredible doing that scene
Incredible.
right there, and Christopher Nolan made up for that, man. Because to be honest with you, his sounds in sound design or mixing and or both, some of his past films have not been the best. It didn't reach its full potential. AKA The Dark Knight Rises with
Dark.
Bane. You can tell that was kind of voiceover a little bit. I think back then, was that 2012? That I think an early cut of that movie came out and people complained about it, and that's when he went back. And also Tenet, the sound
Mhm.
mixing was not good in that film. I remember a lot of people complained about that. Myself, I'm in the theater like, I can't understand what the hell these people are saying. But that was not the case with Oppenheimer. That was one of the best things of the movie. And I believe that is actually what one of the nominations are. Yeah, best sound by
Yeah.
Willie D. Burton, Richard King, Gary A. Rizzo, and Kevin O'Connell. They knocked that out of the park. Another favorite scene of mine where the sound came through was when they was at the high school gymnasium, and they got the bomb went off in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and he's in the gymnasium getting all the praise, all the glory, all the recognition, all the accolades. People like cheering him on. Yeah, you did it. Oh my God. Yeah. And that's one side of his brain. But the other side of his brain, he is hearing all of the aftermath, all of the death, all of the suffering from the people in Japan. And it's going in and out, back and forth. And all of that audio was one of the best experiences that I've ever had at home, because I do have a decent sound system, and at the theater. He's seeing everybody cheering, but he's also looking in the crowd and seeing the radiation destroy people's skin. He's stepping in dead bodies that are burnt to a crisp. All of that going all at one time while he's trying to keep a straight face. The light from the bomb is flashing and on one side of the screen, and it's going in and out. It was incredible, man. That was just another. Every time I seen this film, it stands out to me more and more, and I like it better and better each time. Are you sure you feel the same, or where you at on that?
100%, man. And every time I watch it, I wind up being able to focus more on specific characters that I didn't get a chance to focus on the first time I seen it. When I watched it the second time, I really kind of focused in on Matt Damon's character, Leslie Groves. And if anybody was kind of quote unquote the comic relief of this film, I
Mm-hmm.
would say it was Matt Damon's character. And I really enjoyed Matt Damon's character in this thing too.
Yeah,
He had what I would call a push and pull position, because there was times you was wondering which side of this thing is he on? Is he fighting for morality? Is he fighting for America? Where does his allegiance lie? And eventually you see where it went. And that was a character that was a dark horse that I really liked the way they wrote him out and what may have you. Um, it wasn't many bad things I could say about this movie,
yeah,
other than I wish more people would have gone to seen it. I wish more people knew about the Manhattan Project, beyond kind of some of the small scopes that some of us get in school, and that is if you get it in school, because understanding how there was a race between the superpowers in the world to have a weapon to basically be like, I'm the man, my stick longer than yours, do something with me. I mean, I'm just being real with you. I'm talking like Truman would talk, minus the cuss words.
mm-hmm.
This was just as much about remaining a superpower against Russia and somebody else as it was about us, quote unquote, trying to protect our American security.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. You hit the nail on the head with that right there. I agree with you 100%. Something else that this film is being nominated for is the editing, best editing. I mean, I still can't come to, yeah, best editing by Jennifer Lame is the pronunciation. I still can't come to any conclusions right now. Just saying it should win because I need to see all the other films just to see how the editing is, and and those, because of course this is pre-recorded by a while. By the time the Oscars, I will have seen everything, but there were like the film is 3 hours long. The first hour, I would say, is edited between three different timelines: the present day, them in the laboratory, and everything in the past, flipping back and forth to what's in color, and also black and white. And I like how they did that as well. So I mean, you have present day, one of the hearings and or the kangaroo court, or multiple, and everything that happened in the past. The second hour is them, testing a bomb, them mostly in the trenches, Los Alamos, and everything kind of going linear. Then the third half of the last third of the film goes back to them editing between three different timelines. I loved it, man. I loved it. 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 I mean, it was incredible. You can really it takes a lot of talent to pull something off like that, and for it to still make sense without somebody getting confused or lost. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that every time I do see a Christopher Nolan film that I comprehend everything to its fullest degree the first time I see it. No, majority of the times I do have to see a Nolan film more than once to get the full comprehension. The first time around, I do get the gist of it, but the first time seeing this, I was able to follow everything pretty well with its intricate detail as far as the editing is concerned. And so it definitely does deserve that wholeheartedly, in my opinion, and just another great aspect of this film. You spoke about these scenes right here being parts of your favorite. I want to hear you kind of talk about that, if you don't mind, because the way your face flared up earlier piqued my interest.
Just being someone who loves science, a quote unquote nerd, and I say that with all prestige that should go with the term nowadays. You had Einstein, who was kind of on the end of his rope. He
Mhm.
was at the he was at the point now where he was this genius man, and he wasn't in a mental institution, but he was kind of in a mental institution for people like him in his era. And to see the kind of respect Oppenheimer had for him in that era, and to go to him before he started, and then to come back to him at the end, when Einstein kind of felt like you're creating a monster. He basically kind of had that sentiment. It resonated with me because it didn't make a whole lot of sense to have who was deemed the smartest person in the world not had been approached about something that you're trying to achieve that could destroy the entire world. So it did my heart fine to see them bring him in and give his 2 cents.
I was muted. Yeah, man. I agree. Something that really did impress me was when Oppenheimer went to Einstein with the calculations kind of early
Mhm.
on in the film, and that happened multiple times because they kept going back and forth. Not only did Oppenheimer respect Einstein, but it was how Einstein's face flared up and lit up when he saw Oppenheimer, because he
Yeah.
was talking to another guy and he heard something behind him. He saw something in his peripherals and was like, "Oh, it's Dr. Oppenheimer. How are you doing?" Like, he was impressed, and so that really did make me feel good on the inside. I was smiling ear to ear, and just the fact that, okay, you have Oppenheimer and Einstein chopping it up, talking to each other. I love that. And just the fact that every character in this film was smart. Everybody was a
Right.
genius. You had the best minds in the world collabing together to do something that's never been done before. And it was just the perfect geekasm, the perfect nerd, like experience for me at least. I mean, I wanted to study when I was done with this film. I just wanted to go home and do some math equations. I didn't, but when I was when I was when I was watching the movie, I was like, man, I feel I want to learn this, and this is really inspiring. It really is. And I also just wonder what the effect on little children that came across to see this movie. I mean, I'm sure they showed up, and I'm pretty sure there's some adults out there that introduced this to their kids, to their children. And I want to know how it inspired them. I'm just kind of curious, like, oh, does this inspire them to want to go into science and technology and this and that? I can imagine that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised if for 10 or 15 years from now we hear one of the next greatest minds you know, like I was inspired by the Oppenheimer film, or you know, Robert Oppenheimer. You know, that I would be like, hey, I don't blame you.
Look,
It was a great time. I'm gonna say, well, it's a great story. And on top of that, like this story is not just about the Manhattan Project, like you said. It's very political. It also got into so many personal details about Oppenheimer's life and his
yeah,
family and
and his religion,
yeah, religion, the relationship that he had, you know, with his wife, played by Emily Blunt, who did she was a fantastic too. And
fantastic.
yeah, and I forgot the other cast name you spoke of, or we said you talked about the sex scene, you know, and
Yeah, yeah.
it
Gene
got
Tatlock,
there you
Florence Pugh.
right, right, right. You know, and just it got really in depth about the relationship. She's like, I said no more flowers. Why don't you leave me alone? It's like, well, you say that, but then you call me. Well, don't answer. You know, I'm like, women, what do you want? Y'all can be really complicated at times. You know what I'm saying? Leave me alone, but I love you. I'm not going to see you again, but I need you to see me. What if I call? It's that woman was. I don't want to judge anybody, but yeah, she didn't have it all figured out. I'll just say that much. The fact that
Well,
it got away from the science and talked about all of his relationships. I like that too. But go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, be on my channel. I always tell men the crazy women got that good, you know what, but you got to watch out for that crazy
Yeah, you
because
do.
you can't separate the two now. And you saw a little bit of that with her, with
Yeah,
Florence Pugh's character.
for sure.
Um, and when I think about the story and how they went through his life and his religion and all the things he was doing, it just begs you to question how did things go after all those, like if we could continue the movie, how were things between him and Emily Blunt that they didn't show in the story?
Yeah, yeah. Makes me. I definitely want to. I would definitely want to look that up. Something else that was fire. I got to talk about the score by Ludwig Göransson. Now, Christopher Nolan usually works with Hans Zimmer. That's his main man, but I believe he was busy doing Dune, part one and part two. And, you know, I've seen both of those films. Incredible. Score is great. But Ludwig Göransson, my goodness gracious, this was fire, man. This was all over social media. Also did Black Panther, one of the best. I haven't heard all the scores in the world, but it was one of the best that I've ever heard of. You know, in my young existence here on Earth, I really did enjoy it. Another category that was nominated for an Oscar, definitely deserved. Have downloaded a few of these songs, and you know, jam it every time I can. You know, and so definitely well deserved right there. And also, I mean, you can comment on that if you want to, but your boy Robert Downey Jr., man, he was a despicable man, sensitive, 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 thinking that the world revolves around him, thinking that Oppenheimer soured all the scientists on him. They weren't even talking about you, bruh. They're talking about the world. And he's like, he doesn't like me anymore because of Oppenheimer. Ridiculous. Went to those lengths to ruin this man because he also felt embarrassed about the isotopes, but it was a damn good performance too. Damn good performance. It gets lost sometime with Iron Man, even though he's good in the MCU, and he will be back. He will be back after Secret Wars.
Definitely,
but
he know the inside.
uh, yeah, man, how'd you feel about Robert Downey Jr., man?
It's uh, great. All the awards he's been winning. I haven't seen all those films. I've seen like some of them, but just on the ones I've seen, he gets the awards for supporting actor. He was just a butthole.
Mm,
Little. I'm trying to use clean language. He was a little bee baby, and
yeah,
y'all know what I mean when I say bee baby,
yeah,
because for him, this was all about ego, pride, and if you drill down into the actual character and read the history on him, that was his MO. He would love people to sleep when he first meet them. You know, get them all dolled up, get them all joyous on whatever the cause is he's rallying you for. And then once the cause happened, if you didn't bend the knee to him, he would ruin your career. And Oppenheimer was another example of that.
yeah,
Same thing.
yeah,
Same
man,
thing.
yeah.
And like the character, when they can play a role so intense that you literally walk out of the theater hating their guts, they did their job.
They did, man. They did. They did. But yeah, man, we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon. But 13 nominations, man. This is crazy right here. Oscar nominations 2024. Oppenheimer dominates with 13 nods. And just to recap that again, real quick, we got best achievement in motion. Both best achievement in music, written for motion pictures, original score, best sound, best picture of the year, best achievement in directing, best performance in the leading role, Cillian Murphy, best performance in an actress supporting role, Emily Blunt. Best support performance in a supporting role, Robert Downey Jr. Best adapted screenplay, Christopher Nolan. Best achievement in cinematography, Hoyt van Hoytema. Best achievement in film editing, definitely deserves that. Best achievement in production design and best achievement in costume design. I can say with confidence that it deserves at least 10 of these to win. If it doesn't,
What?
at least 10.
10.
At least
And,
10.
and you've seen everything.
No.
You haven't seen, what have you not seen that this is going up against?
I don't want to name that right now.
Oh,
But
okay, my bad.
I mean, we'll talk. You good? We'll talk about that when when doing the Oscar recap the day after. But there's still a handful of movies I haven't seen. I'll just say I wasn't blown away by the costume design. I mean,
No. And I told you I wasn't blown away by the script.
okay.
I'm not saying it's a bad script. I didn't say that. Just I wasn't blown away by it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad script. I just wasn't blown away by it.
Yeah, I wasn't blown away by the costume design. I wasn't blown away by the production design. Not saying it is bad, but it didn't blow me away. I was blown away by the cinematography, the editing. I did like the screenplay. I love all the supporting roles and leading roles. I love the direction. Best picture of the year, best sound, best score. And I wasn't blown away by her and makeup either. So out of 13, I was not blown away by makeup and hairstyling, production design, and costume design. So yeah, 10.
Okay.
I'm good.
Let me ask you this, B.A., before you get out of here. Let's just boil this down to the two boilerplate political movies of this past year. This and Killers of the Flower Moon. If you're giving awards out just between these two movies, which one of these two movies should get the most awards just between those two movies? If this was your Oscar and it's these two movies, who would get the most awards?
Easily, Oppenheimer.
Okay.
And I really did like Killers of the Flower Moon. I really did. I enjoyed it. Man, it was a long ass movie, and I gotta watch it again for the recap that I'm gonna do with another.
This was long too, B. Avery. This was long too.
Yeah, it was long. But I wasn't when I saw it in the theater, I wasn't like, God dang, how much time we got. I mean, it flowed for me at least.
Yeah.
It flowed, but 3.5 hours is a lot. But Oppenheimer for me. What about you?
I'm with you. And I just learned that I have a big audience of natives on that follow me, and I don't want y'all to think I'm disrespecting y'all because I'm not. I would go with Oppenheimer in terms of most of the awards. But y'all do have a sister that was in Killers of the Flower Moon who I think deserves that one particular award, and I'll save that for when B.A.B. talks about it. And if I'm just going totality of both films, which film would get the most across the board? It'd be Oppenheimer.
Right on.
Shout out to Liz Gladstone. She knows who I'm talking about.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to wrap it up for our Oscar recap of Oppenheimer, our movie review. If you want to call it that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time here, leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment also as well of what you thought about the film, what you thought about our commentary, and all of that good stuff. Lamont, before we head out of here, man, why don't you let the good people know what you got going on in your world over on your channel, sir?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have now opened up my channel membership for those that want to increase their knowledge of the stock market. For $10 a month, you get a weekly video from me talking about stocks, talking about business, talking about how you can pick stocks, talking about the best stocks that are going on right now, as well as real estate. And in some cases, I am also helping people help themselves in terms of getting on YouTube and how to get views, that type of thing. In terms of content, I'm reviewing BMF, the TV series right now. I'm also reviewing Hightown. I will have the creator and showrunner of Hightown coming on my channel next week to just talk about wrapping up that show and the new show that Stars has her working on that I get exclusive. I ain't gonna say rights or anything like that, but I'll know a lot of what's gonna be going on with the new show. And when the time comes, I can drop you guys the information.
And I just not realized, Lamont, that I have a typo in the banner downstairs. That I put Oscar nominate. That don't even that's not even. I got this.
Nominated.
Is that spelled right? Am I tripping?
Oscar nominated.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Nominated.
Wow. My bad on that, guys. I gotta fix that. That's embarrassing. But oh well, it's all good. So oops.
It happens, ladies and gentlemen. At least it don't happen every single week, every single day.
Yeah.
Every now and then a blunder happens, but
A,
that's so
a
small.
blunder happened. I was rushing. Over on my channel, guys, I got movie reviews. I got spoiler movie reviews, series reviews, a weekly comic book superhero live show, a weekly movie news roundup show, and I'm also covering Shogun on FX, Disney Plus, and Hulu. I have my full non-spoiler review for the first 10 episodes. If you guys want to check it out,
Wow.
yes, sir. Yes,
Wow. The
great.
first 10.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God. Look, y'all, I just saw the first 2 episodes and I am fighting with myself not to jump up here and do reviews for Shogun. It is that good, y'all. You
yeah,
gotta watch and don't be sitting up here being as y'all be saying to me a soy boy. I don't want to read. We're
yeah,
telling you, don't miss out on a great opportunity to be entertained because you're worried about reading. They don't make it go so fast that you can't read. Now, they do keep up with the pace of the story. Follow B. Avery's review if you have trouble understanding what went down so that he can fill you in the gaps.
yeah. And I thank you, Lamont. And I fixed the thing down there. Now it's correct. So that sucks. I did a whole dang video with a misspelling. They're gonna think I'm crazy. But I'm doing weekly recaps with Kimberly Curran, Southern California. There's episode 1. There's episode 2. By the time you see this video, episode 3 will be out, and there will be a recap for that as well. Also, check out my non-spoiler review for Dune Part 2. And if you want to check out my earlier review for this film and the spoiler review, you can do that as well. Again, I will be going live Monday, March the 11th, 6:30 p.m. CST, the day after the Oscars, to recap everything, see who won, see who lost, all that good stuff. Make sure you come and join us doing that live. But guys, that's it. So before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Lamont, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.